is that some people in the New Patriotic Party tell us that we are in a new global dispensation, and therefore what we do and what we say ought to reflect that reality. And Honorable Ablakwa Kisi also said it, that this is not the time of the Malcolm X's. This is not the time of the revolutionary leaders and so on. To some extent, he's right. Times have changed, but they have changed for the worse. If Malcolm X were alive today, can you imagine the language you'd be using to describe U.S. foreign policy and its president? Look, in the past, they hid. In Chile, they assassinated Salvador Allende. But they did it in such a way that it would not be traced to them. In Ghana, they overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. They tried desperately to do it in such a way that it will be attributed to Kotoka Afrifa and some elements of the Dankwa Buzia tradition and so on. That's how they did it. They were hiding. They executed Patrice Lumumba, dissolved his body in acid. They were hiding to do it. They assassinated Chris Hani. They were hiding to do it. They assassinated Malcolm X. They were hiding to do it. Now they don't hide anymore. It's brazen.
Martin Luther King.
So many of them, so hundreds of people were assassinated by Western intelligence, Western governments. But they were hiding to do it. Now they don't hide it. They are brazen. They bring U.S. commandos into Caracas, you understand, to kidnap a president. They don't hide anymore. And Donald Trump is saying, we are doing it because we want their oil. Their oil belongs to us.
Oil for drugs.
So today, actually, we need stronger statements today because the situation has deteriorated so much. And then there's a question of what interest do we have in Caracas and so on. My brother, foreign policy, first and foremost, ought to be principled. Principled. Foreign policy cannot be reduced to the level of prostitution. We cannot be prostituting our foreign policy. You understand? Oh, Ghanaians need visas to go to the U.S. and therefore we should support the U.S. That is prostitution of foreign policy. Foreign policy ought to be anchored on principle. And indeed, Solomon Owusu has outlined the principle as stated clearly in the Constitution of Ghana. Our foreign policy is anchored on supporting international law, defending international law, defending the interests of multilateral agencies and so on, clearly stated in our foreign policy. Now, there is no country on earth which has said that the kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro is in conformity with international law. Even the allies of the United States of America have said that is a violation of international law. Now, these NPP chaps, what did they expect our foreign minister to do? To take a position against the world in favor of Donald Trump? Listen, they must be exceedingly reckless. Listen, France, Macron, what statement did he make? He said, this is a clear violation of international law. Even though he does not consider Maduro to be the legitimate president. That's what he said. The British Prime Minister said, this is a clear violation of international law. The Germans said, this is a clear violation of international law. These are close allies of the U.S. So what is wrong if Ghana's foreign minister also says that this is a violation of international law? And then we said that, oh, Venezuela is in South America. That's a statement based on ignorance. Yes, Venezuela is in South America, but the African Union has decided that the African diaspora is its sixth region. Do you know the African population in Venezuela? In fact, Venezuela is considered as part of the African diaspora. So when we talk about Venezuela, we are talking about Africa. In the same way that when you talk about Cuba, you are talking about Africa. That's the African diaspora. Look, Brazil has the largest African population. The largest African population outside the continent. Indeed, Brazil's African population is bigger than the population of some countries in Africa. So when you talk about Brazil, you are not talking about a South American nation. We are talking essentially also about Africa. And it's important that we know that. Now, listen. The international situation today is so frightening. So frightening that 2 days ago, the Prime Minister of Canada, Canning, actually made a statement, and many people have not grasped it, that Canada is ready to go to war with the US. Why do I say so? He said, if need be, they will trigger Chapter 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. What does Chapter 5 say? Chapter 5 says that when one country is attacked, all the other countries will rally and fight the opponent. And he was speaking about Greenland. And he said that Canada is ready. Canada's commitment to Chapter 5 of the NATO treaty is clear. So in effect, Canada's Prime Minister is saying that they are ready to go to war with the US in defense of the very principles that Ablakwa, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ghana, is upholding. Canada, a Western country, is ready to go to war over these matters. The MPP doesn't know that. You know, yesterday, something very significant also happened. Donald Trump, in one of his outbursts, made the claim that when they attacked Afghanistan, other NATO members did not go to the front line. He made that statement. You see, these MPP chaps, they don't follow international events and so on. All the members of NATO, between yesterday and this morning, are angry. Listen to the statement that the British Prime Minister made yesterday. That this is an affront to the truth. And what Donald Trump has said is condemnable and so on. Denmark has followed. And my MPP friends say, we in Ghana, we should praise Donald Trump and get isolated in this world. I can't believe it. I mean, what pushed them to organize this press conference? What pushed them? What was wrong with them? And they should realize the mistake they have made and probably apologize. I haven't seen anybody, apart from their own few serial callers and so on, or those who do not want to be seen to be stepping out of line and so on. Everybody has condemned this press conference. In fact, some of their communicators, when you meet them on platforms like this, they try to defend. When they close, they tell you, oh, this was a useless press conference. I'm sure all of you have experienced it.
Not yet.
I've experienced it.
They will tell you that this was a completely useless press conference. Now, I am frightened. I'm really frightened. The press conference which was organized by the minority in Parliament frightens me. And it frightens me very, very deeply. You know why? this tiff with Israel, how did it happen? Members of Parliament of Ghana traveling to Israel on official assignment were detained by the Israeli authorities and humiliated. Members of Parliament. The minority in Parliament organizes a press conference and virtually tells us that it was okay for the Israelis to arrest their own members, subject them to inhuman treatment, detain them. What kind of parliamentarians are these? They are not ready to defend their own dignity. Would they be ready to defend my dignity? Sana, their own dignity is at stake. Their dignity as members of Parliament of Ghana is at stake. They don't want to defend it. How can they defend my dignity? It's incredible. These people, where do they come from? But you see, it's so shocking that sometimes, you get choked. You don't even know what to say. It's incredible. What did Ghana do? All that Ghana did was to say that you have so badly treated our members of Parliament, carrying diplomatic passports. You so badly humiliated officials of Ghana going on official duty, and therefore we would also deport an equal number of your citizens. This is in accord with the principles of diplomacy. The number one cardinal principle of diplomacy is reciprocity. Diplomacy is based on reciprocity. You do me, I do you, pe. That is diplomacy. So they don't even understand the principles of diplomacy. They have no idea. They don't understand the principles of diplomacy. You see, if they had kept quiet, if they had not held this press conference, we would not have known that this is how ignorant they are. But they organized this press conference and displayed their ignorance in full colors before our eyes. Now listen, and this is really frightening, really frightening. The minority in Parliament is telling us that we should not call what Israel has done in Gaza as genocide. Do you know the implications of that? The minority, do you know what damage you have done to yourself? I can't believe it. Look, even in World War II, the number of journalists killed in this conflict in Gaza by the Israeli Defense Force was not equaled. This is the highest number of journalists killed in any conflict in the world by the Israeli Defense Force. And we are comfortable with it. It should not be criticized. Look at the number of women and children who have been killed. Which country in the world supports the genocide which was committed in Gaza? Which country in the world? In fact, the only people... It's very fair. It's very fair. The only political party in the world, apart from Netanyahu's party, which has supported the genocide in Gaza, is the New Patriotic Party. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
I think, respectfully, that is unfair.
Okay, so what is fair? Tell me.
In the sense that when I started the show, I was very clear that I have a contrary opinion. So I beg to differ, as boxing all of us.
Oh, so the minority did not speak for you. They didn't speak for you. Okay, fine. That's fine.
I must be No, listen, I was very categorical here.
So it's okay.
But you do not represent the opinion.
So I'm only making a case that he shouldn't box. Because when we do press conferences, it's not the entire. So
Massa,
I want
there's no problem.
I want to be clear
In
about
fact,
that here.
especially
when I'm here.
Yes, of course.
That the press conference and views expressed should not be attributed to the New Patriotic Party. I'm comfortable with that.
Thank you.
I'm very comfortable with that.
Not all members of the New Patriotic Party. Because
so-
those also held the press conference are members of the New Patriotic Party.
Agree, but he's saying that they didn't speak for him,
For him, and that's
especially on the
members.
question of Israel.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Massa,
I think that
isn't this beautiful?
I started my conversation that way.
Yes,
So
yes.
whilst I'm here,
You need to tell
I
them.
need to
It's-
clear that
it's a fair
because
point.
then it's like you're boxing all of us.
Fantastic.
I
So
mean,
you will not be
that-
boxed.
I refuse.
No, Massa, you will not be boxed together with those who had the
That
press
is- that
conference.
is-
That one I can assure you.
Thank you.
So let me make my statement very clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
The minority or so-called minority which held this press conference finds nothing wrong with the genocide which is being committed in Palestine. Is that not shocking? I mean, so very shocking. And you see, Massa, their crass ignorance is displayed in many ways. It is obvious that when President Muhammad spoke at the UN General Assembly, they were not listening. Because if you listen to President Muhammad's speech in the UN General Assembly, which people all over the world, even in the United States and so on, are praising, you should be asking yourself, what is the difference between statements made by Ablakwa and the statement which was read by President Muhammad in the UN General Assembly? Now, I wonder how anybody who read or listened to the president's speech in the UN General Assembly will call on the same president to dismiss his foreign minister who is speaking the same language that he, the president, is speaking. It is only if they didn't listen to the president. I mean, 2 days ago, the president spoke at Davos.
Yes.
You understand? The Accra Reset agenda and so on. Did you listen to the speech?
Yeah.
How different is that speech from the statements Ablakwa has been making and so on? And do you know what you have ended up doing? You've ended up raising the profile of Ablakwa, turning him into a hero. There are things that the foreign ministry has done which I'm so dissatisfied with. Today I'm spending my time here defending the foreign minister because of what you have done.
Myself.
Your party, your minority, what you have done. You turned this young man into a hero. You've turned him into a hero. You understand? Now, maybe history can explain what is happening today. Maybe. I'm not sure. But perhaps history would explain what is happening today. Because I recall 1969, when the Progress Party, in the face of the mounting pressure to dismantle apartheid in South Africa, issued a statement and actually fought other African countries for insisting that sanctions should be imposed on the apartheid regime. The Progress Party government led by Buzia said we should do business with apartheid. Is there some consistency here? Is there some consistency? Progress Party wanted to do business with apartheid. The apartheid regime which was saying that black people are inferior to white people. The apartheid regime which has seized most of the lands of the South Africans, which was subjecting our brothers and sisters in South Africa to inhuman treatment, which had imprisoned Nelson Mandela and so on. The Progress Party led by Buzia said we should do business with them, that the rest of the world should go to hell. Maybe there's some consistency here. You understand? Maybe there's some consistency here. Maybe there's some consistency here because only a few years ago, we saw the president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, sitting in front of Anthony Blinken Foreign minister, not president. And telling him that Burkina Faso is misbehaving, we have to deal with Burkina Faso. They have to help him to deal with Burkina Faso. Maybe there's some consistency here. Not too long ago, we had a president telling us, the whole nation, that he stood side by side with Ukraine. Maybe there's some consistency here with Ukraine. Ukrainians whose intelligence officers are openly supporting jihadists, insurgents in Burkina Faso and Mali. Our president said he stood side by side with Ukraine. Maybe there's some consistency here. Look at the problems that Burkina Faso is going through, caused by Ukraine. And our president is standing side by side, or was standing side by side with Ukraine.
There's one thing I wanted to...
You see?
No, please, no.
When you're...
Master, I beg you, listen. You frighten me.
No, there's one
So,
thing
if we make the mistake, if we make the mistake of putting you back in power, this is the foreign policy we are going to pursue. We are going to support Ukraine. We are going to support Israel. We are going to support the annexation of Greenland. Is this the foreign policy we are going to pursue? We are going to be so unprincipled in your foreign policy? Hey, then we should be frightened. We should be very careful. Because if this is the foreign policy we are going to pursue, I don't want to see you in power. If we are going to pursue a foreign policy which supports a government which can send troops into another country to capture another president of a sovereign country with his wife, innocent wife,
Who has no pussy?
then I don't want to see you in power. If indeed you are going to get into power and support the genocide in Israel, I don't want to see you in power. You understand? If you are going to go into power and say that Africans in Venezuela, when they fall into trouble, we should not support them, then we are a danger to African unity. Then we are a danger to the African diaspora. And we don't want to see you in power. What is wrong with you people?
Can I come in now?
What is wrong with you people?
I'll wait.
Why are you bastardizing foreign policy? My friend, let me stop here before